change up here.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about TSM right now because this is a team that has never won a stage. Envy, they won stage 2. Envy, they won stage 3 last year. But TSM, they've never gotten the chance to do so. And Envy, this is a new team that already has been already got the chance to lift that trophy. But for the side of TSM, they haven't had the opportunity to do so. Last year, right before we went into Ascension, the grand finals, it was TSM and M80, and M80 got the win. So it's something that for TSM, it matters a lot. We talk about the consolation of still going to Ascension, being second, but getting those wins and being the winner, being the first team, being champions of the stage is something that we know for TSM, it matters a lot. Not only for the core of GMD and 7, but also for the new rookies that have been proving themselves throughout this stage.
Not quite all coming down to Ascent, but for Envy, a must win if they want to send this now into a map 5. Roy, final thoughts before we get into it.
Yes, I just want to reiterate the suffocation that happens with the TSM composition, right? We want to see Envy being very proactive on the defense side. If they're going to give up map control early, they need to either regain it in mid or regain it on the opposite side of the map. They cannot let TSM slow grind these rounds. It has been their bane. It's been their weakness. They need to get ahead of it. They need to get active and need to regain their confidence, like especially in this first half.
All right, time to see if Envy can do the Envy things and adapt to what TSM has been proving on the day, or if it's going to be a renewed TSM to try and take this grand finals down in 4. Let's get to Ascent and find out with the casters. It's none other than Uber and Wyatt.
On their road to this particular match, Envy had only dropped one map over the entirety of their upper bracket run here at the end of stage 3. They have now dropped 2 in a singular game to TSM, and all the fire and fury that they brought into the first map seems to have kind of just fizzled out. Hoping to see that little break and a move over to a more familiar territory here in Ascent would assist them, but it looked a bit rough. We used the Inspire pun a whole lot, but Envy were lacking a little bit of that edge that got them into pole position early on in the series.
Yeah, I just have not been loving the macro game on the past 2 maps with the ISO Yoru looks outside of that Haven attack. But perhaps they can bounce back here, starting defense with the double duelist, Jet Yoru comp. Very crew-esque. And honestly, at least to compare to crew, they were finding some serious success in some of their games running this in Americas this past stage. It's just a hyper aggro comp. You're constantly fighting for extremities with these duelists, with the getaway mechanics. If these Envy players can start to heat back up, maybe they can take over the game. Last map, honestly, pretty quiet. You know, especially Eggster, who started off hot, but didn't have a great performance on Lotus. You know, with this, I think with this comp, with his strategy, he's got to really start to activate again.
Okay, so that's 2 duelists on the Envy side, unsuccessful in their early endeavors. Poppin, bro, he's got a scent for the blood. He's chasing his Albert boy. He's punished for it. Okay, we have not gotten off the runway comfortably if you're a defending team fan, but at least Inspire able to make it a bit more reasonable, these odds. Extra spotted out early by Kimon, though, and chunks down to 48. So waiting for Inspire to join here, but we have a door down. We have a post plant set up. TSM confidently working in towards this A side after forcing a gate crash out of the all route. So X to the 1 and A main early in the round now has to return to a very different landscape. No longer is he at home here.
Player standing.
Come on. Even though he sends him home pretty bloody quickly. And it'll be Timotino set up by Jan. A nice pistol to take. And off to the races go TSM.
Yep, just winning out some of those crucial duels. I like how they set up that post plant. Vor just has the shock dart ready the second the door breaks. Doesn't get a bunch of damage, but it just provides more delay. GMD gets that damage onto Eggster as well. They're just putting themselves in great positions here. Alvin in mid, cutting off those B rotates. TSM are really hitting individually, I gotta say, especially Alvin. I'm really impressed with his play so far today.
You're dead right. I'm watching him very closely after that Lotus performance. He's 16 and 13. And 3-1 in first kill, first death. So definitely an important role player there. The map with Vora actually was able to come alive, but that was the domain of our desk. We discussed that already. Now Envy. How do they turn this sort of save round into something a little bit more special? Right now, just be patrolling the outsides of this dark cover. Alvin is a lot more passive, I think, as a lurk player compared to Inspire. Very carefully playing around his own tripwire on the A side of the map, and dark cover's down. It's time to go. All of Envy have fallen back, but they did get the door down. Just not really relevant here in this kind of setup. TSM are going to move straight through. All of them grouped up in B main. Now looking for a fight. Iron already down through the boxes on the side. Poppin's going to be forced back out into the open by the Paranoia. Inspire, the only player able to find anything. And Extra has to now come through into yet another hostilely held site.
Jumps over the wall, but basically over for him. There hasn't really been a game for, TSM in this series, or a map rather, where you've had like a one-player takeover situation. But in terms of the impact that some of these guys are having, for me right now, Seven and Alvin have been just outsized in terms of the impact of what they're doing for their team. Been really, really impressed by the two of them. See what they can make of this bonus round, carrying over the majority of the weapons. We're just going to have a sheriff here. Nothing too remarkable happening in this round. Stack from Envy, but they don't accomplish much as players are just getting spammed through some of the architecture. No cash for an AWP yet for Envy. Will be critical at some point to get that online, though. You really want to get that in the hands of at least one of your duelists to control some of these lanes on the map.
Oh, Timo's done it again. I mean, last map, Lotus, he was 6-0. First kill, first death. Whereas Extra, conversely, 2-6. So, very different story at the start of this series. I think Kane is still 13 and now 6 in those encounters. But TSM have really been good early, and they've converted nicely on these 5v4s to boot. So it's a drift back in the B direction now, a bit of a re-hit that will leave only Inspire at this site, at least for this next little window.
And you just have Kane there trying to timing that recon to get back into main, but that's not going to be enough to just try and basically dry post up back on the angle. Has no utility support. Timatino in, great recon. Inspire catches him.
Looks like a tripwire actually walked into, unclear. Something pinged him out anyway. Inspire good for just the one, but outside of that, Envy had long since gone across the map. And Seven is ready and waiting for Poppin to try and step up. There's a player out of market down, and a player who very quickly got over towards defender spawn side in this same position Ion's about to take up. TSM, pretty clean. Converting on a bonus here would be massive for this attack side team.
Cover going down.
You can just have GMD really bide his time here in B main for the backstab. Even if things do begin to get dangerous for TSM, he should be the insurance policy.
X has cleared one. Seven Tarks on Speedway. And Gimon's going to find his timing. That having that player in B main is always a big problem for the team that's attempting to retake. Now Gimon can join, or at least imply he's joining the rest of his team. But he's here in B main, and oh boy, he's giving Ion the roundabout. No idea where the Omen was. And I've got to feel like odds of winning on this map in general get a lot nicer when you convert on that bonus. TSM up to 3 here. And Envy knocked back down into the economic doldrums.
Just take a look at the state of the economy as well for TSM after this round win. Vora upgrades his Bulldog to a rifle at the last moment. It all begins to spiral, though, when Kane at the beginning of the round just goes for that dry re-swing back into B main. Timatino's posted up on the angle, gets a free kill. There's no util to get him on that line, and he is just hard punished for that decision.
So once again, we're looking for Envy to go for something a little bit novel. Something that isn't so readable for TSM. But all we have to do is sit there and let the game come to him. Ion at least is able to secure a trade, so not a terrible result for Envy, who only have Sheriffs and Inspires Bucky in the game.
And look, things could obviously get dangerous now that TSM will be exposed to every single angle on their executes, not having any smokes, but is the Envy weaponry really strong enough to even exploit that fact? Feels a bit unlikely. And TSM have got a great timing to get into this site. Inspire, into the cage, had the opportunity, but the Bucky shot goes wide to the right, and the round should be as good as done.
You've only got one chance to get that right, unfortunately. Inspire pushed off that boathouse position. Knew that he'd be hoping to get 2 kills out of that, but had to leverage the element of surprise. And it seems like TSM so far have been ready for everything. Again, there's a player in B main that looks very threatening. Kane fortunate not to go down the first time, and now Poppin is trying to trade it, but Alvin had the better weapon, doesn't matter. Ion has a rifle. He just made use of it there, trying to make his way in. And a good paranoia on towards Logs, but there's no one to follow up on it. It's just Ion v the world. With 45 points of health and an Odin trained in his approximate direction, he knows this is about to get dicey. Up to the site. A tap already down to 13. That's like, no, there's no way he's doing this. There's no way he's doing this. He's gotten into half, and 7 has to get the job done. The honest way, steps up with the shorty. TSM stacked their 4th.
Envy were able to deal an unlikely amount of damage, I think, to some extent, but that's just going to be ultimately irrelevant when you factor in TSM winning that bonus round, leaving with most of the rifles and getting upgrades from it. Getting a few kills, who really cares at this point? Envy need actual rounds on the board. 4 already on attack with this comp is pretty outrageous.
Now, of course, we have our regularly scheduled tech pause. So we're going to just bide our time for that one. Wyatt also will be stepping aside for just a moment. So you have me. Now, I'd chat with you guys in chat, but we are delayed slightly. But I do think the idea of Kane wanting to get out of this game to play Clash Royale is quite funny. Extremely based. So, Exeter, looking ahead towards the next round, obviously get an operator for Envy. This is the big investment. This definitely represents their best opportunity so far to get into the game in a meaningful manner. And once again, as per usual, I'm waiting on the reason for this technical pause.
That is the Inspire disconnect.
Okay. You know, back in the day, when we played COD 4, we used to we used to just like pause the game and disconnect, so we didn't have to look at our scoreboard anymore, because obviously it reset when you come back into the game. So you have the cosmetic disconnects by players like at halftime, because they've got like crap score lines and I don't want to keep seeing it every time they hit shift. I was a big fan of that personally. It's really all about mindset. Unfortunately, just it doesn't work here on the tournament realm.
Suffering a mental damage.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to look at the 4 and 20. You know what I mean? I'm like, get it off my screen. No, thank you.
No way to customize the HUD to get rid of that.
Looks like every Mimi gaming photo I've ever seen, by the way.
Oh, that one?
Head first into the camera, yeah.
Yeah, the Sage was kind of giving, do you have any games on your iPad energy?
It's giving, guys, please come out to Saltail for dinner.
Yeah, that's funny for maybe 2 people that are watching.
Just you and I. Yeah.
Yeah, and the 2 people are us.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I think jokes for self-satisfaction should be embraced a little bit more, honestly. What is Inspire cooking here?
Okay, when we get back into this, I mentioned the operator earlier and how important that was going to be. Envy do finally have the economy to be able to get things rolling with that. You do desperately want it with this comp. So you can push up aggro one part of the map, try and funnel players into that Cypher setup ideally. It's just going to start with just facing down mid the entirety of TSM. Set up towards A main. Matino's going to pop the Blade Storm, and it looks like they want to just get right in, dash to the top of Gen.
Kane under some pressure, but Isle's been able to give them an edge here from inside that smoke in hell. And there it is, Exeter very quickly able to get back onto the site, deploy yet another gate crash, and put that op to work. Come on here, trying to play ahead of the ping. I kind of like that idea. He actually wins it out against Poppin, but there will be a second layer as Inspire is rejuvenated. Rejoining the server and delivering what needs to be done there to get Envy on the board here on this defense side. And they better hope there's plenty more rounds where that came from.
There are just a couple critical pieces of defensive utility there, or rather Envy use, which is Ion throwing down that anchoring sight smoke. Timatino gets really disconnected from the pack coming through main because of that. And then, as you mentioned, it's Exeter just having the gate crash. He's playing in mid, but immediately gets to heaven to try and help his teammates defend. They've got 3 players there and make it look very, very easy.
Once again, same approach. Same gate crash set up for Exeter to bolster A if there's a fast hit.
Here.
Much slower approach for TSM. And they really caused the pace of the game to come to a standstill on Lotus. Timo, that's a little bit nerve-wracking, but no Odin to spam that position out. So he backs away, but he's lost, giving up control at least of B main.
More than anything, TSM just have to be hyper concerned about the AWP being on the field at this point. Vora does still have that drone to try and clear Eggster off of something, force a gate crash away. It's going to be used right now to get into tree, which is being smoked off. So heavy implication from TSM that they're trying to work the side of the map. GMD is aware, catches Kane, has his ult, by the way, so he can just group up with the rest of the team when they go for this B exec. And it's only Inspire to try and hold them off. Poppin was, near and playing spawn, but has rotated away. He's just now trying to get back.
Cyber Cage here being traversed by Timo's. Poppin is going to be caught out or kept out of the fight by this slow wall. Inspire also suffering. That's inside Boathouse. And so Vora can just flop on down and take an easy kill. Spy not ready for it all. Now that dark cover keeps the rest of Envy out of this game, and they're headed to Save Town, folks. That is a 5th attack side round for TSM out of 6.
Are TSM going to try to hunt? It doesn't really look like it. I mean, Timatino certainly could try to go for it. The money isn't too bad. Won't hurt if they lose a weapon, but doesn't seem like they'll have any real opportunity to do so. What a heads-up play from GMD to just hard clear wine like that. But on top of it, TSM throw down some good utility just before he does that. I mean, really mere seconds before, which is having Vora get up the catwalk, drone re-clear into tree, while the dark cover from GMD goes down to smoke off that cross at the steps. So it's just all really making Envy think that something is going to go on towards A, that there's going to be a split coming in. They're trying to get from cat to tree. There is presence in A main, but no, GMD is just able to teleport out, and they go for that B exec. It drew everyone from Envy away from B except for Inspire.
Do you think the odds are that we get this Odin-heavy approach at Tier 1 in the next couple of months?
No, I mean 100%. It is
like a precursor to champs.
It is 100%. I think NRG were maybe like a little bit ahead of the curve. But more than anything, it's just coming down to the map pool. It's just because we have Ascent, Corrode, and Lotus in the map pool at the same time. So the Odin is just overpowered on, damn near half the pool. Like, we're just going to see it constantly unless we get a series of, whatever, we're playing Bind and Abyss and whatever else, right? So we are going to see it constantly. And Haven, it's like relevant enough as well. It can be used a little bit more optional. But if you're playing defense on either Ascent, Corrode, or Lotus, you should 100% have one.
I wonder if that also extends to this Sage play that we've been seeing. The 7 has been very happy to sit on this agent.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more teams trying Sage for sure.
I mean, already
since, the recent buffs, just we've seen it come to fruition with 7 a bunch of times, where he's able to put some crazy wall up from the longer range. All right, Eggster Paranoid has to get away. This is just fast right in from TSM.
I mean, Poppin is surely aware that Timo's just gone overhead here, but knows he can't do much about it, and he's better served trying to fight here in main. The Odin, though, well, death taxes and getting sprayed down by 1 billion bullets a second. That is exactly what 7's offering. Extra inside the smoke, the little right click, and okay, something's brewing here. Something a little on the spicier side. 7 almost wins that, which I think is egregious, personally. The fact that it's that close. Kane and Extra have 13 health between the two of them. And Alpha Boy's got the right weapon to spam away out of the cyber cage, though, comes the flash. Nice little 1-2 set play. Extra setting that up. And there's Envy back in it.
Some good anchoring from Poppin and main. He gets the 1, which is kind of nullified by the res, but then he's still able to get the 2nd. So gets the res out. Ends up essentially going 1 for 1. Stalls pretty heavily too. So the rest of Envy are able to get that rotate in towards spawn.
This is the nice finish. Pure and simple. Okay. So Extra keeps the op. This time it's an A main. Look, Gimon. It's not a fake TP. You've got to know, yeah, there's got to be maybe something a little more to dig out that player playing close. He was hoping it wasn't an op, but unfortunately, hope doesn't get you there. Not in a game like this. Not in a Challengers final. It's now down to 4.
Yeah, now TSM are in a situation where GMD goes down right away, and they're going up against very good weapons with no smokes to cover up any angles that they're going to be walking through, and they're going up against an op, so that is miserable.
About as punishing as it gets. I always feel like the round's almost over when you lose your controller first. Can TSM fight for this B side? So far, not too shabby. Honest Fury, but I don't know if it's backed up by... Okay, it is backed up by some solid info, or Vora just got caught in the blast. Either way, it's to the favor of Envy. Now Timo drops down. Inspire, happy for a 1-for-1. He's got the numbers, and Ion very quickly comes in for a trade. Here we are, stacking up these rounds. TSM likely already pretty satisfied with what they've been able to achieve on this attack side, and now be able to rotate out and buy some weapons properly.
They do still have enough for a buy here if they want to commit, and it would just be 7 on a low buy. So not too bad. And they have the Hunter's Fury. Feels like they definitely want to go for this right now. I mean, yeah, really, on their last round, it's just losing GMD immediately, right? They feel like they then need to get into that B site ASAP, and Inspire had an interesting little setup where he's back site, and I couldn't tell, I didn't see from the point of view. It was either a trip or a cam. I think they got a ping in the, you know, sliding door in market, and then he just got a free span kill. It was pretty cool. Easy way for him to get one.
That was that last round moment where Imon TPs across, tries to take a fight on A main, but doesn't realize that it's an op angle that's being held against him. So we have a timeout now for TSM. Likely just game planning a little bit around this buy, which mostly gets them back into the game. Well, you'll notice with the exception of 7. It'll just be a stinger for him.
So there's going to be a reasonable committal here from TSM. We'll still have more for this next round just in case they lose as well. Looks like Kane wants to maybe tempt fate and just get out of the smoke. No, not going to do it. Just going to hold that cat cross. Dark cover will allow safe passage for TSM. Timotino crossed into tree.
Oh God, Alvin is ready for something like this. If you watch the tape, you know that we do get these pushes up out of mid by Kane on occasion. Did some ferocious things on his way here. Man, this is all TSM all the time. They are hitting this side far too hard, and Envy are reeling. Poppin trying to work on all angles. Even a Hunter's Fury committed to the engagement. Extra's up now, has to do the work of extricating Envy from, God, another round handed over to TSM on this attack side. There's no connection on that shot. Money less of the issue. Inspire and Ion did buy down pretty low. And I think Extra will just get what he can before sheepishly backing away. And these rounds have felt long, but mostly because Envy's had to save a lot.
TSM get a nice little Hunter's Fury execute off. Kane goes for the solo play in mid, but is shut down by Alvin. That is a very, very important moment, right? I mean, aside from just the kill, if Kane gets that, he's also going to be very quickly flanking through grass. So all of a sudden, the players that are on TSM executing into the site have to deal with the anchors in front of them and pressure behind them. I would have been a lot to deal with.
Alvin shutting him down there.
Yeah.
And I think as he realized there's 2 players like inside on Cat, or rather in Cubby, he wants to try and crunch with the tree player. But TSM like read this well in advance to just sit Alvin in mid. So tell you what, Kane is definitely going to push out, and it's really just a matter of if you're patient enough to see him coming. Turns out he was.
Envy are buying down to effectively nothing in this round. If TSM convert here, they will be in prime position to have a very, very dominant half on attack with this Sage comp.
And the series hangs in the balance on Ascent. Envy are chasing TSM's 2 maps they've already won. And this is Envy who got both bans at the start of the series and choice of map to start with.
This is as aggro as it gets. Eggster holding top cat so Kane can just fight through tiles. Drone going to force him away. Not sure if that got the spot on Eggster. I don't think it went deep enough.
Here.
Regardless, TSM don't like what they see there, so they're going to allow Envy to have control about 2/3 of the map right now, and Kane is getting even more for his money. I mean, obviously their tripwire is set for a push out of A, so Kane can get right forward here. Needs one. There's no tailwind ready, but okay, just the shoulder peek around the corner just gives it a little bit. Cloudburst thrown down. Eventually, he is put out of the game. Now TSM, though, with 40 seconds left, have to start re-clearing back into the map. And it's a drift back over towards B, which is well held and full of Sentinel util.
30 seconds on the clock right now, so they're going to begin to feel a little bit of time pressure rushing through B main. Poppin and Inspire trying to anchor multiple trips for the site, and Seven is caught just getting on that wall trying to get up top.
And great read from Inspire. He's ready, trained on that particular location. He and Poppin combine at least to try and keep it even here on the side. It's down to Alvin and Gimon, who has his back turned to Poppin as he emerges from Boathouse. Simply too many angles to run. And look, I guess a very simple process of putting Kane aggressively in mid and having his back watched meant that TSM ultimately didn't have enough time to come up with a good answer.
Yeah, maybe feeling like they didn't want to run into that op over on the A side. But either way,
maybe
you're a little bit too
probably the pivotal one there.
Yeah, and I mean, still has the full setup on the site, right? So that is going to be pretty tough to clear with basically no time. Timotino is going to pick up the attack up, and his wall boosted. That's so sick.
Bro, I mean, X's mouth wide open after that happened. Looks like there's always something new from TSM. And now the neural theft shows Poppin set up for contact in B main, a position he undoubtedly will now have to give up.
Timotino is so prepped as well for someone to try to push through B main. Kane is just totally shut down. This round has to be converted for TSM. It's only Ion on the site. Forced to make some sound. Paranoia to delay. Gonna give himself a smoke to try and anchor within.
I don't know what Timo's looking for, but Ion's been able to get away to Jen, at least for the time being. Also gets an isolated 1 versus 1, but Timo found Inspire. And now has it up under control. We are looking at down the barrel of 7 attack side rounds for TSM, where Envy once more have to be reactive, which is not a role they're comfortable in. They've tried. They get Kane Zero up mid 1 round, he gets killed. They try it yet again, this time with extra coverage for him, and it pays off. But it seems to only take 1 round or so for TSM to adapt, and that boost into mid now is something Envy, I mean, fortunately for them, not much time left in this half, not many more rounds. But they're going to have to be very aware of that possibility now.
Yeah, Poppin just gets shot in the back, forced to have to attempt to save the AWP because the money is just not ideal, not the best. He has a judge no armor.
Yeah, I mean, not where he wants to be. Might opt to just play inside B main. And that similar position to last round. He got pinged out with the neural theft, so I had to give it up, but I'm sure he can be effective there. He's going to have to be playing by the door for the time being.
Get out of my way.
Thanks to this time, not in the cushy position of having an op holding A main, has to play more towards wine. We had Gimon just straight up clear that last time there was a player set up there.
Ion is ready to throw that paranoia at a moment's notice. Also just back up towards Jen, though. Great kill from Egster, and does have the gate crash to escape backside.
I think Gimon was ready for that, but Timo with knives. I feel like he threw them all out, but up, there's the Odin. I was wondering when that would get back involved in the game. What was that from Timo? Around the corner, and Egster, not a chance to respond.
Look at Alvin as well. He's up in mid towards Pizza.
Yeah, I don't know what is supposed to be done there. Alvin is been able to thrust deep down mid, but now will be a backstab threat. But one that's not necessary, given the tree play is down. Kane steps up, Timo sits him down. It's another Timotino game, folks. We've been waiting a couple of maps for this one, but we get it. And a 4-round defense side for Envy is not going to feel enough heading into the second half of this, what could be a decider map.
TSM are on fire right now. Oh my god, Timotino is dominating. We haven't really had a map where he is just fully taken over the game in the last 2 series, it feels like, but there's just something about Ascent. I mean, that was the map yesterday. He did go crazy on. They just didn't win. They weren't able to close it out. It was a 13-11 for Core, despite him dropping 27 kills. So he is praying that all of his good efforts today playing this Jet on Ascent will not be going up in smoke as they did yesterday in that lower final. It's been a hell of a start for him. Gonna pick up the Sheriff on this pistol. Trying to take a fight down mid, perhaps.
Or at least set up in case Envy try and work that part of the map. Can they get market control back quickly enough? No! Okay, Kane just turns up out of nowhere and Vora makes him disintegrate. Now push off market, brimming with confidence, TSM. What a time for it. Now the fight starts to break down a little bit more, but Seven will be able to back Alvin up. Defense side pistol one. TSM are getting the best of everything here on Ascent.
We are so close to a TSM upset win. Last time these two teams met up, Envy beat them 2-0. Now TSM might take the grand finals. Envy feeling some serious pressure are going to force up 4 stingers and a Bucky for Kane, who has just been getting shut down on this map.
I don't know, man. I think this TSM team has really, really impressed us. Obviously making some big changes and losing a star player, coming into this stage or more recently. It's tough, but teammate's been the perfect solution for them. Team with great macro play and who's felt, like I've said, more consistent and stable in the games we've seen now from them in Challengers. Envy are a gaggle over towards his B side and they want to get into the site with these stingers on the A side.
Going to have to deal with multiple trips. Anchor set up for Alvin Boy. This is where he has absolutely thrived in Extra. That is a really aggro play. Oh, the trip as well.
Spike down B.
They just walked into it. Cybercage here at least will give them a moment to try and collect themselves, but where do you go from here? There's some mid control that's starting to be taken, but I don't think that part of the map's going to be a factor. Ion is stuck here with a simple mandate. Get us out of this round alive. TSM still with 3 weapons to work with. And Kimon likely positioned to upgrade his at the end of the round. High-low setup. Seven set up to fight on the corner if Ion tries to go for it. And try and break up this into 2 1v1s, but Seven's looking at him. Okay. Didn't win it out. Smoke had to be circumvented. So Ion's going to go for the fight. There's a Guardian and a Spectre. Kimon up close, Paranoia hits, and there it is. Timo closes out yet another round. TSM go to 10. And Envy, it's starting to look like they might not want to be here. This gun round has got to be inspirational.
That's set up from Alvin.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
They did get the plant, so the money is not horrendous, in at least the regard that they can they're kind of just have like a half buy again to kind of send it. They're forcing onto the bull. All right, never mind. They are just full forcing again. I mean, when you're making decisions like that, it really does feel like the game is slipping out of your grasp and you are drawing at anything to just stay in it by any means necessary. Damn, you can hear TSM getting really hyped up after that. And why wouldn't they? Oh, another first kill for Timatino. Eggster has just been removed from the server with immediacy. 2 rounds back to back.
Now what do they got?
I mean,
Kane is going to have to go for it. He knows it.
Just executing into B, running into these trips again and again. Vora and Alvin, the 2 anchoring here.
Paranoia through the side. Might have gone over towards that defense side, but okay, Ion's able to get through at least. Kimon though sees the Bucky coming. Stinger, pretty appropriate for that kind of situation, and he asks for more, steps up, and stomps down on Poppin's hopes in this round. Envy, of course, they had to take a gamble and go for a Stinger Force. That hasn't worked out. The next round, of course, is looking similarly ugly. And now we're just on this weird forced roller coaster, man.
Yeah, exactly. They are just absolutely spiraling economically. They're just going to force again. They don't want TSM to get to match point. Fully investing in Bulldogs, a Bucky, whatever they could get. Eggster just dry swings out, cooked. Kane is just jumping into a smoke. This is just devolving into individuals trying to scrape for any little advantage they can find, and they're currently not finding any. B hasn't been working. Time to just hit A, I guess, but
it's over, man. This game is so unbelievably cooked. Singed even. Blackened at the edges. Envy look like they are out of steam, and they do not look like they particularly want to be here. I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. The forces continue because they must until morale improves or the game ends, whichever one happens first. And I think we all know which that is. TSM, match point, coming up from lowers here against the odds.
It's crazy.
Envy getting their pick of map and 2 bans still doesn't matter.
This went from being a very close neck-and-neck game into a genuine crumble from Envy at the final moment. TSM are absolutely ruining them.
Okay, I mean, that was pretty fundamental. Kimon just holds his ground. Trap getting triggered now as Exter gets in onto the side. There is a ping of a player, and Alvin is going to be there from Gen. It is all falling apart in a screaming heap. Not with a roar, but with a whimper. Envy are threatening to go out of this series. And Exter and Inspire have got to put together a 1-2 punch that'll echo throughout Challengers history in a round like this. 2v4 against, of course, that same annoying Odin from 7. Gimon already credited with a kill in this round. And Timo waiting for a push around the corner. Flash does hit. Inspire's able to find one, but there's 7 again. It'll be poetic for the game to end with the Odin. The Dimensional Drift gets used now as Exter. His position pretty obvious. And him having just picked up the spike means that 7 knows where he's going to come from. He makes sound, he emerges in A main. And he gets on out of there. Over to B, the last hope for Envy.
They threw out a really nice gate crash that basically goes cross map. This would have to be quite the heroic play. And even if Exter does win this, Envy would need to win another 7 rounds in a row to take this to OT. I can't believe what we've just seen from this TSM defense side. Just over the past few rounds, Envy have just been slamming their heads into a brick wall. They feel like they've just completely folded over.
This is winnable. Someone of Exter's caliber can definitely get himself out of this in one piece. Some early damage, but of course, oh God, just a rage bait, everybody. It's the Odin that gets it done, and TSM come up from the lower bracket and claim the victory here in Stage 3 of Challengers. Off to Ascension now with a spring in their step and the knowledge that right now, they are NA's #1.
What a win to get. The CSM team, they were forced to make changes midway through the year, and man, they have paid off. All 3 of their new additions were really fantastic today. They all had their moments. Timatino, he was a little bit slow early, but he gave us one of the takeover maps to close things out. 7 was so consistent across the